Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to On the Mic with Methel. I'm joined by Elio Canella, my co-host as always. Elio, how are you?
I'm doing great.
And we're joined by a news writer for WrestlingNewsSource.com, Caylon Knox. Caylon, how are you, my friend?
I'm great.
SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver was last Saturday and Sunday, this past weekend. What did you guys think of the show? Elio first.
NXT TakeOver, I liked it a lot better than SummerSlam.
How come?
I don't just seem to just the flow of everything. It seemed to like run a lot smoother than SummerSlam. SummerSlam seemed to drag out at certain points.
Is that because it was 4 hours though? I'm just lost.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a really long pay-per-view, and then some of the matches, some of them weren't all that entertaining, like the John Cena Baron Corbin match.
Yeah, that's true. Caylon, what about you?
I would totally agree with that. Except, the fact that it was 4 hours didn't really bother me. I just thought that some of the matches just flat out sucked. Like John Cena and Baron Corbin, I thought that match absolutely sucked. Corbin, spent too much time screaming at the fans, which I didn't get. And then, Shinsuke Nakamura and Jinder Mahal. I mean, it was what it was, but that ridiculous finish where they had the Singh brothers interfere with them, it was that right there was just a big letdown for me. Thought that was absolutely stupid.
Well,
what's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the. I think it was on the pre-show, the Usos and the New Day. I thought that match was great. And then, of course, the Fatal 4-Way match I thought was excellent. That was probably one of the best Fatal 4-Ways I've ever seen.
I would so agree with that. Because it reminded me of just great selling from Lesnar, really, more so than anything else.
Yeah.
Because he made Strowman look like $1 million that night.
Yeah.
What about the Baron Corbin situation? You didn't like Corbin. I didn't think that match got all it should have. In my opinion, I was expecting more. What do you guys think?
Actually, during the match, that was so unlike Baron Corbin. He spent half the match screaming at the fans. That's like so unlike him. He never seemed to do that.
No, and you don't see. He's never really a over the top speaker. He always lets his actions speak louder than his words.
Mm-hmm.
No.
What was that, Caylon? Sorry.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I didn't understand at all why he kept on, spending the entire match yelling at the crowd. I was just like, what is he doing?
Right.
It was just. I don't know whether, because we know Corbin's being punished for allegedly having a confrontation with an official and going back and forth with Dave Meltzer on Twitter.
Yeah. And actually, I just saw a report, I think late last night, and I don't know how true it is, but that Baron Corbin and John Cena actually got into it backstage. John Cena was chewing him out over something, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was that report from?
I saw it somewhere on a Facebook link. But it basically said that John Cena was chewing him out for having a bad attitude. I don't know if I could bring it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just reading it last night, and it said that Cena was chewing him out, pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is the thing, and we spoke about this, Elio, on the last show as well, didn't we? That if Baron Corbin, it's okay to be a heel, right? I understand that.
Right.
As a heel, you have the right to get on everyone's nerves and annoy everyone on the show, but you have to learn to be able to turn that off. Right? You have to learn to be able to turn that off and be able to separate your character from your own personal life.
You need to learn when to shut up.
Exactly, and he hasn't done that. So I don't. And a big company like WWE, and tell me what you guys think. You have to be able to learn how to just be yourself without having your character affect your personal life.
And apparently, he's blocked a lot of people on his Twitter as well.
Yeah, I heard that as well. It's just I don't know whether it's he thinks that he's owed something or whether he thinks that he's being mistreated. I don't get it, but he needs to learn for whatever reason that there are rules and things that he needs to abide by in this company in order for him to be successful.
Yep.
I heard another one as well that Rusev has asked for his release.
I was just about to bring that up.
In WWE. What do you guys think about that? Caylon, what about you?
Well, actually, I just saw on Twitter last night where Lana was completely shooting down those rumors. Lana said that was absolutely not true, and she kept on calling the internet reporters, she kept on calling them villagers who didn't know what they were talking about. So apparently that is a false rumor because, yeah, Lana was just absolutely denying it and shooting it down on Twitter. So.
Well, I guess that decides it. I guess that's false. Because obviously she would know him. She would know better than anybody whether that was true or not.
Right, exactly.
I don't really agree with the way he's being used on SmackDown personally. What about you guys? Because I think that the way he kept on going after Shane McMahon for better opportunities on SmackDown, and he said, I'm gonna. This was before he came back. He said, I'm gonna come back to SmackDown and things are gonna change, and I'm gonna start getting opportunities. And then when he came back, I was really hyped for his return when he interrupted Cena. But after that, they haven't really used him properly. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that honestly, it's just another case of them, taking a guy who was a monster at one point and just watering him down like they seem to do with all of them. I mean, they've done it countless times over the years. They did it with Vladimir Kozlov.
God.
Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
No, but it always makes me sick when they, take a guy who was a monster, real dominant force in the ring. Again, like I said, guys like Kozlov, guys like, Kane, Big Show, Mark Henry.
Yeah.
They've done it to all those guys over the years, that they take a monster and they water him down, and I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that you have to be able to change, right? But I understand your point. I understand your point completely about the fact that, for example, let's take Kozlov. When he came in, he was a monster who destroyed everyone in his path.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And afterwards, he was a comedy act, which I don't really understand.
Yeah. He went from getting a clean win over The Undertaker on an episode of SmackDown to dancing with Santino Marella. And that was absolutely...
I remember that team.
Because I was a big fan of Kozlov when he first debuted on SmackDown back in 2008. And he was just absolutely destroying everybody. I was a big fan of that.
He reminds me of that era's Great Khali. And I know they were both in the same era, but it's just... His booking was right. They went through the whole undefeated thing. That this Kozlov has never been defeated, and I thought he could have been at least had a run with the world title at that time. But after a while, it was just dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was just dead. What about Dolph Ziggler, guys? And Eli, I'll start with you. He returned on SmackDown this week in an interview, which I thought he created a pretty good promo.
I don't even know where to start with Dolph Ziggler. I mean, I was a fan, and then I'm not a fan, and then I was. So it's kind of like hot and cold with him because, like you were saying about watering down the character, that was really hot at one point. He was one of them. Like at one point, he was even the world champion.
He was.
And now,
so hot at one point.
I'm sorry?
He was so hot at one point, and then...
Yeah. And now I don't know, I don't know what to say about him. I don't know.
I've always been a fan of his work. I always will be a fan of his work. But honestly, I gave up on Dolph Ziggler a long time ago. I gave up on WWE ever doing anything with him a long time ago. and they've jobbed him out so much that, to be honest with you, at this point, I don't even know if I'd really want to see him get a push because, I mean, I would just find it hard to believe that, a guy who has lost 99% of his matches over the past 5 or 6 years is going to come back and start beating everybody and start winning all of his matches, So, I mean, they've jobbed him out so much and just made him look, so bad that, at this point, I don't even know if I'd really want to see Dolph Ziggler come back and get a push.
And remember, he's been there since 2004.
2004.
Yes,
2005, I think it was. He came in as a Kerwin White's.
Oh, sorry, 2005.
There it is. That's right. There you go. That's right.
I think I spent most of that time in school, so I wasn't really watching so much.
No, I agree with both of you. I think Dolph Ziggler. When the brand split happened, when the brand split first happened I think it was last July.
July 9th.
Yeah,
July 19th.
Yeah, July 19th of last year. Dolph Ziggler, he came to SmackDown and he was hot. His character, that promo with Dean Ambrose on the August 2nd episode of SmackDown, where they had the about 10-15 minute segment where they went back and forth with each other. That was one of the best promos I've seen in recent memory anywhere in WWE. And he came in with such momentum, and now it just stopped. I don't understand where or how it happened, but it's gone. Is there any way back for Dolph Ziggler now?
Nope.
Caylon?
I mean, I would almost be interested in maybe seeing Dolph Ziggler get traded to NXT maybe, because I've heard rumors over the past few weeks that if they do another superstar shakeup, that they might take a couple guys from the main roster and maybe put them on NXT. And
I had that too, yeah.
And I could see Dolph Ziggler maybe going to NXT and sort of reinventing himself, maybe sort of along the lines of what Drew McIntyre is doing right now.
They did it with Enzo. He debuted on 205.
Yeah.
Yep. I would like to see that as well, because I still think, although you guys are saying that that you wouldn't like to see Dolph Ziggler get a push in the state that he is now, if they repackage him and find something in him that can work and that people will be invested in, he could still be a main event talent. Still.
I agree that he could be, but I don't think that they're going to do that, because I just get the feeling that I don't know if he has upset somebody backstage like Vince or Triple H or whatever, but I just get the feeling that they are never really going to push him like they should on the main roster.
I agree. Not at this point. Not at this point at all.
Yeah, but then there's also that one wrestler, whatever, that Triple H has never liked and probably never will like. They might find something about that person that they'll never like. So
say that again. I misunderstood.
Then there's always that one person that Triple H has never liked or never saw anything in from the beginning. So
who are you referring to?
No, like Dolph Ziggler. Like
okay.
Yeah.
I see. But no, maybe if they repackage him, send him down to NXT, help him create a new character, and then relaunch him back on the main roster, maybe that could work. What do you guys think about Drew McIntyre as a whole?
Like changing his name and everything, or?
Oh, you mean? Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Maybe his name, not the name as such. That the name is not really. It can be something that they can work with, but it's not a must. They don't have to change his name.
Yeah, go back to calling him Mickey.
Got that one. That never got over. That never got over.
That was terrible. The Spirit Squad, I don't know.
I was actually kind of a fan of the Spirit Squad just because I thought they were funny.
But can you imagine, as a main event talent, Nikki in the Spirit Squad? My gosh.
No.
It's terrible. But they were more of a comedy act.
Yeah.
I agree. Maybe if they change his hair, as in like maybe
God,
dye
I
his
hate
hair.
his hair. Oh God, I absolutely hate his hair. He needs to get a haircut.
Oh, seriously, it's long and stringy.
Yeah.
It looks like pasta fell on his head.
That's a good analogy, actually. That's a good analogy. Going forward to NXT, there's a couple of points I want to ask. Ember Moon and Asuka. Do you think Asuka should still be champion, or do you think Ember Moon should have beaten her? Ilya, I'll start with you.
Well, I think Ember Moon should have won. I was actually predicted her for that match in at NXT Takeover, because like Asuka has been like the longest reigning champion. I think she's been ready to be called up to the main roster for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Caylon, same question.
I mean, I'm okay with Asuka retaining, even though I did think that Ember Moon was going to win that match. But I'm okay with Asuka retaining just because, you know, it seems like they're really trying to make Asuka, you know, something special in NXT.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'm okay with it. But it just makes me wonder, though. I mean, if Ember Moon can't beat her and nobody else has done it, you know, who's going to do it? Is it going to be somebody like, you know, Ronda Rousey or somebody like that? I mean, you know.
I would, after seeing Ember lose, I don't know anybody on the NXT roster right now who can beat Asuka. I don't know the answer to that question. Simply because Ember Moon was the only one who I thought could do it.
Yeah.
And she hasn't. So what if, and I'll this is a bit of fantasy booking for you guys. Kaylin, I'll start with you. What if Asuka went out on television, because she has to be called up eventually, right?
Yeah.
So what if she went out on television and she said, "There's nobody here to beat me anymore. I want to go up and test my skills or something to that effect on Raw or SmackDown television because I've conquered the NXT land." How would you like to see her transition to the main roster if she still had the championship? If she didn't lose it and they had to come up with another way.
Well, actually, they did that exact same thing with Paige. They brought her up to the main roster, and she had never lost the NXT Women's Championship. And she came up to the main roster, and she beat AJ Lee for the Divas title, and they stripped her of the NXT Women's title. So I could definitely see them doing that with Asuka. Absolutely.
Would it work?
Yeah. I think that it would just be a great way to bring her up to the main roster with a lot of momentum. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows who she is. You know, I mean, the majority of the fans nowadays follow NXT. So, I mean, the fans who are watching the main roster, Raw and SmackDown, they know who Asuka is. So, yeah, you know, go ahead, call her up to the main roster without ever having lost the women's title, and just, you know, present her as being this, you know, unstoppable force on the main roster that she was in NXT.
I agree completely. Ilya, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
Because it's just the facts are what they are, right? There's nobody on the NXT roster right now that is credible enough, or, you know, that they've built up enough to beat her for the championship. It's just not possible at this point.
I would say that the only possible opponent left for Asuka would be whoever ends up winning the Mae Young Classic. I think that's coming down to Kairi Sane, who was formerly known as Kairi Hojo in Japan, and former UFC fighter Shayna Baszler. I think they're in the finals for the tournament, and they're going to have a match sometime, I think, in September or October in Las Vegas. So maybe, you know, whoever wins that Mae Young Classic final, maybe they'll take that person, either Kairi or Shayna, and maybe have them be the one who beats Asuka, maybe.
Could possibly, because My only objection to that would be that the NXT audience doesn't know who they are, but if they watch the network, they would know.
Right.
So possibly that could actually work. Speaking of the Mae Young Classic, the one of them I'm really looking forward to seeing is Mercedes.
Mercedes Martinez, yes.
Yeah, that's the one. Mercedes Martinez in the Mae Young Classic. I'm looking forward to seeing her style. I've researched her a bit on the internet, and I think she could possibly do really well in this tournament. What do you guys think?
To be honest with you, I haven't really seen a whole lot of Mercedes Martinez's work. Some of these ladies in the Mae Young Classic, I'm honestly not too familiar with.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Marty Bell and Mia Yim, who was Jade in TNA.
Serena Deeb.
What's that?
Serena Deeb.
Oh, yeah. She was Straight Edge Society with CM Punk. Yeah.
And then there's Santana Garrett.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of hers, too.
Yeah.
I'm the same. There's a bunch of people in that Mae Young Classic who could potentially be Asuka, but I don't think WWE should wait that long to have her lose the championship, because I think it would be more effective, and this is my personal opinion, if they do what we said before, have her come out on NXT television and say, "Look, there's no one here to beat me. I've conquered the NXT land. I want to go to the main roster and be the best up there because I'm already the best down here."
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way to go with her. Speaking of the main roster, if you could pick which brand to send Asuka to, which brand would you send her to, and why?
Caylon?
I'm not really sure. I mean, at one point I was kind of thinking that maybe the Raw women's roster might need her a little bit more, but the Raw women's roster has kind of been heating up a little bit, with Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. So maybe the SmackDown women's roster right now might benefit from Asuka a little bit more.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Ilya, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the SmackDown roster as well.
Because
actually, I was thinking maybe if her first program would be with Tamina
from SmackDown. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Because that would be, you can have Asuka with her kicks, and you can have Tamina with her using her size. That could be a piece of good storytelling right there.
Yeah, that
could be really good.
Yeah.
Sticking with NXT, what do you guys think of Adam Cole's debut, and to add to that, Drew McIntyre's championship win over Bobby Roode? Ilya, I'll start with you.
That actually, that ending when Red Dragon and Adam Cole came out, that was a pretty good ending.
Yeah.
It had that Nexus type feel, only instead of like 7 or 8 guys, there was like 3.
Yeah,
but it had that like Nexus feel to it.
It reminded me of Nexus as well, because it was kind of like a gang assault.
Right, and especially like because you're focusing on McIntyre, and then just out of nowhere you see Red Dragon up on the apron.
Yeah, and if you'd noticed, they actually put up the NXT ending sign on the left hand side of the screen before the attack happened. So you thought the show.
Right, I saw that. Yeah.
Caylon, what about you?
I was a big fan of it, and I think it gives NXT some extra star power, which they're going to need now if Bobby Roode is, heading off to SmackDown. I did see on NXT last night where Roode said that he's not quite leaving yet. He wants to finish his feud with Roderick Strong before he leaves, but then after that, he's going to be going to SmackDown. So I think that bringing in an internationally recognized talent like Adam Cole, the former, Ring of Honor World Champion, and of course a former Bullet Club member.
Yeah.
I think that bringing in a guy like Adam Cole is great for NXT because it just gives them more star power.
So I agree with you. I think I was confused a bit by Roode's promo last night on NXT. So he said that he was not leaving NXT yet? Caylon?
Yeah.
He's going to finish his feud with Roderick Strong, because that feud was kind of left in the middle when McIntyre was challenging for Rude's championship.
Right.
Is he? Are they going to finish that feud off and then he's going to go?
Yeah, that's what Rude said last night when he was interviewed on NXT. He said that he doesn't believe in leaving unfinished business. So he wants to finish his feud with Roderick Strong first and then move on to bigger and better things on the SmackDown roster, is what he says.
Ilya, do you think that's a smart move?
Yeah, because anytime there's a feud like that going on, everyone wants to see like a conclusion to it. Because if you just leave it open without any ending or conclusion, it leaves everyone wondering what if.
Yeah, it eventually dies. And Roderick Strong is a talent that is very intriguing to me, because they spent so much time in him, as in like looking at his life story and looking at his wife and his kids, and we don't really see that anymore in WWE television. What do you guys think of Roderick Strong? Caylon, I'll start with you.
I've been a fan of Roderick Strong's for a long time. I've followed his career sort of off and on, really over the past decade.
Yeah.
He was in TNA like 10 years ago, back in 2005, 2006. That was really when I first saw him. I know he had a pretty good run in Ring of Honor. I believe he was a former Ring of Honor world champion. He's a great talent in the ring. Yeah, I'm a fan of Roderick Strong. I like him.
Ilya, same question.
Yeah, I like Roderick Strong. I wouldn't follow this closely because we don't get to see we don't really get like ROH on a regular basis here, and TNA in the early days we didn't get until they moved to Spike, so I haven't seen much. But what I've seen on YouTube, I'm a fan.
I like his in-ring work. I think he needs to develop his promos a bit more. I think they need a bit more intensity to them. And
actually, my question is, after this Rude and Roderick Strong feud is done, do you see him joining up with Red Dragon and Adam Cole?
Who? Roderick Strong?
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work, to be honest, because it seems to me that Roderick Strong is still a babyface, and where Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole are heels.
Oh, okay.
What do you think about it, Caylon?
I could very easily see them having Roderick Strong join them, just because that they've all got that Ring of Honor connection. I could see them maybe putting Drew McIntyre in a tag team match. Roderick Strong and Drew McIntyre against those guys, and then Roderick Strong just turns on them. Classic pro wrestling turn in a tag team match.
Mm-hmm. That's actually really interesting, because in WWE you need Drew McIntyre coming back as a face, but he's a big 270-pound man, or however much he weighs, and he needs to have odds against him. And Roderick Strong needs to be pushed to that main event scene, and this is the perfect way to do it. So that actually be really, really good looking.
Mm-hmm. What
about Bobby Roode? We saw him debut on SmackDown. First of all, how did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of that debut? Caylon?
I thought that the debut itself was great. I was kind of surprised that they brought him in as a babyface, but Bobby Roode is a good babyface.
Yeah.
I saw him work as a babyface in TNA, especially when he was part of Beer Money Incorporated with James Storm, and they pretty much got over like $1 million in TNA.
Yeah.
I would say that at one point in TNA, Beer Money, at least for me personally, Beer Money was the most entertaining part of the program.
Did you see JBL? He referenced that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Ilya, what about you? Do you think Bobby Roode could work as a babyface?
Yes, because like Caylon just said, time in TNA as one half of Beer Money. I was a huge fan of Beer Money in TNA, so he definitely worked as a babyface.
And just before,
and actually, when he made this debut, I literally jumped out of my seat.
I did too. I started singing the theme song.
Did you put the robe on?
No, I don't have the robe. That's on my Christmas list. I don't have the robe. Oh gosh, yeah, I was thrilled with his debut, and I think he could be a world champion.
Absolutely.
Very quick.
I still understand why Aiden English is using a gimmick from like 2012, 2013.
No, I don't understand. I'm not a fan of Aiden English, to be honest. I'm really not. I think he's being used as an enhancement talent just to get other people over.
Yeah, because it's just not working for him.
Yeah, which is very sad, really. But I just don't understand it. Finally, before we finish, because we've got about 10 minutes left, who would you see Bobby Roode facing as opponents in his first or second feud on the main roster? Caylon, I'll start with you.
Well, the thing is, I'm kind of confused as to which way they're going to go with him, because he debuted on SmackDown as a babyface, and yet he's still acting as a heel in NXT, with his promo last night. So, I mean, I could very easily see Bobby Roode having classic matches with guys like John Cena and obviously AJ Styles. So, I mean, I would say that if they're going to push Roode as a babyface on SmackDown, maybe have him feud with somebody like Kevin Owens. I could see Bobby Roode and Kevin Owens having some great matches.
Yeah, because they can both work. They can both work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really well. Elio, what about you?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that Kevin Owens would be one of my picks for
Definitely.
him to feud with.
Because both of them can work, and they've both got really good promos.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, Kevin Owens is kind of finished in his storyline with AJ Styles, because if he said on SmackDown, Styles said that if you lose, no more. Shane said, that if you lose, no more rematches, no more anything about the United States Championship. So why not leave that feud and transition into a feud with Bobby Roode?
Now, do you think that's kind of an odd choice for special referee Baron Corbin?
Yes.
That was very strange.
Very good choice.
What a choice for referee.
Did you agree with
just more of them, punishing Baron Corbin some more and just burying him some more,
Yeah, it looked like they just threw him into that situation without any care of what was going to happen to him. But that's probably part of his punishment. I just want to. We're running out of time, guys. So I just want to thank Caylon for being on the show. Caylon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you will come back again. This has been fun. This has been great.
Yeah, definitely.
Elio, I want to thank you again. You great as always. And
thank you.
Fun show, guys. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This has been On the Mic with Metha, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.